This special young lady today because she is leaving to return to another summer of fun-filled training at the Army. For those of you who don't know Rebecca and don't know her story or a little bit about what she's been up to, last summer Rebecca, right after her junior year of high school, left to go to beautiful, balmy, cool Oklahoma in the summer for a summer of fun-filled Army training. Because that is what she has decided to kind of pursue, and she's doing that again this summer. So she leaves Thursday, right? Mm-hmm. So she decided to come back for a victory lap today, or some victory laps, I suppose would be the right way to say that. Rebecca's been with the Starfish since she moved here from Illinois in 2016 when she was 14. Yeah. She's been a great leader in and out of the pool. She is one of the toughest kids I have had the chance to work with. She's been a Speedo Championship qualifier. She's been a state qualifier for her high school team and a captain of her high school team, and a great leader for our team. The thing I think I'm going to always remember about Rebecca is watching her finish 200 fly at Gold Championships 2016? 17? 15.
Yeah.
The last 25, just came off the last wall, true to form, and just closed out and ran down some girls she had no business catching up to, which is kind of like emblematic of the type of worker she's been, and the kind of tough kid she is. She's Army tough, private, first class.
Yeah.
Rebecca. Coach Josh.
Rebecca, thank you for everything. I haven't had the privilege to coach you nearly as much as Coach Dan has, but I can tell you in the time that I've had with you and the time I've seen you with our club, I think earlier on you've always been a great leader. Echo Dan, in terms of your toughness, you're hands down one of the toughest people I know. You're one of the first people when you know the two sides of the Starfish really started to form and take shape, and you were one of the early parts of that glue that really tied both groups together. And you know, on top of your toughness and on top of your leadership and your positive personality, you really helped start to bring this team together. And that's always been amazing. I think my favorite thing about you from the time I've known you is you don't quit. And that is seen at the end of that 200 fly. That has been seen, you know, you're coming off of double tapers and you're going to state and you come out for Speedos. And then it really resonated in Princeton. And I know for you that probably wasn't the greatest meet in your life, but I thought that really reflected who you were. You're sitting on the bleachers, Dan wasn't able to be there, you were sick, and you were having a tough meet. We were sitting chatting and talking about it, and you just looked at me and you said, I can't quit. I won't quit. I finish what I start. And I think at 17, 18 years old, that's an amazing thing. And, it just further put the icing on the cake for how special you've been for this program and how successful we know you're going to be in the future. So we want to thank you for everything. Starfish got a few gifts for you here. Let your Rebecca, thank you for everything and good luck.
Rebecca, where are you going this summer? It's not Oklahoma again, is it?
Have either been changed, okay, or have not been possible. You know, stage 4 allows us to have about 50 people. I think we've got just under, which is great. These seniors, whether it's been 4 years or 12 years, have spent a tremendous amount of time and effort in the pool. Okay, hours and hours, miles. What they've done is impressive and deserves the recognition. As the seniors before have gotten, and as you all, as you reach that stage and you graduate out as a swimmer, okay, you deserve to be recognized for all your efforts and your hard work.
I would just like to say generally how much fun we have had with this group, and how what a great group of young people they are, and how sad I am to see all of them go.
So the way it'll work, we're going to call up a senior. We're going to say your name first. We're going to have you come over here to the corner. Coach Dan and I, so you can hear us, are going to have our masks off. We're going to say nice things about you, maybe say some other things about you, at which point we will remask. We have a senior gift for everybody. All right, so we'll give that to you. We'll give you a chance to kind of walk on through. If your parents are here, go ahead and hang out with them if you'd like afterwards. If your parents aren't here, no problem. Feel free to circle back with your teammates, all right, and continue to show support. So, our first senior that we're going to recognize today is Anna Bernasconi.
Yes.
For those of you newer to Starfish, we do run 2 sites. So what will happen today is I will talk predominantly about Southside graduating seniors. Coach Dan will recognize Northside graduating seniors. But please know that the appreciation is shared. The appreciation we have for both site seniors comes from both of us, so we hope you understand. Anna Bernasconi, we are 7 years in to this journey. I remember Anna Bernasconi started her swim career in pre-competitive group as a 10-year-old with a bunch of 5-year-olds. I had all 3 Bernasconi sisters there. Sarah was the only one kind of close to the height that fit in, but then you had Anna and you had Catherine that towered over. They really wanted to be swimmers and the team was full, but they came in every day for a year and they worked on their technique regardless of the age of the kids they were working with, and the career that took off from there was amazing. A couple of my favorite stories about Anna, and I will be quick today, boys and girls, but I think my first favorite story about Anna would be our first, maybe our second Y States together. Anna would always qualify for Y States back when we were in the Bay Rays, and she'd come in 44th seed, 45th seed, and she'd go and she would swim, and all of a sudden coming out of prelims, she'd be in top 8, top 9. Always a 30 seed drop, putting up an amazing time. But Anna and I, we had this interesting form of communication. I would say something, Anna would do it. It was mind-blowing because I was so used to talking to seniors and saying something and them looking at me all funny-eyed. Did you understand me? They'd say yes and then not do it. So I would say something, Anna would do it. I thought we had this great relationship until one day Audrey comes to me and says, Coach Josh, I thought you should know Anna doesn't like butterfly. So I went over to Anna, I said, Anna, you don't like butterfly? And Anna smiled and nodded. So I didn't know if she liked butterfly or did not like butterfly. It turned out she didn't like butterfly. And then we began to grow. Anna's career took off from there. Kick started out as a backstroke butterflyer, got into high school, and really started to evolve as a phenomenal breaststroker, qualifying for Speedos and high school states, going on to be a captain for her high school team at Bethlehem. And you know, you've had an amazing career. I am so proud to announce she's going to be going next year to St. Francis to swim D1, which, whether they're swimming in the fall or the spring, when that time comes, Anna's going to make an immediate impact on her team. She's been a great leader. She's got an amazing work ethic, and I've been privileged to be able to coach you, Anna. So thank you for everything. We will get a hug or a wave at some point. Okay? Congratulations.
Bye, Anna. All right, so we're going to go in alphabetical order. I only, of all the seniors that we have here today, only 2 of them train at the North site with me. And they are, one of them is the longest tenured Starfish by a little bit, I think. Grandma Starfish, as we've dubbed her. And the other one is a swimmer who has been working with me the longest. So it's a nice group for me personally. And this swimmer, Demi Bobrakis, is our first North Site senior. Demi has been a Starfish since 2010, and she has been with the club through some ups and downs and a whole lot of transition. And we are glad that she has stuck around. She has made a ton of progress through those years. Demi was in the first Starfish practice that I ever coached when I was sure that I was coaching a girl named Debbie for the first few minutes, but I was corrected, like Demi Lovato. Demi is one of the nicest, most caring people I have had a chance to work with. She is a very talented swimmer and talented in all aspects of her life. She is going to be going to Siena to swim Division I next year. And she'll have a coach soon, hopefully. Demi is the fastest butterflyer in our area, which is pretty cool. And she's gonna, I think, between concussions and sprained ankles and skiing accidents, which is water under the bridge at this point. I think there is even some untapped potential left, so I can't wait to see what she does in the next few years at Siena, and luckily she's going to be right around the corner, so we'll get to see that. It's been a pleasure working with Demi, Grandma Starfish. I put up my favorite Demi picture over there if everybody wants to check it on the way out, when she was just a baby. Carly's in that one too. Debbie, come full circle. Demi, it's been a pleasure. I want to say a socially distant goodbye. Thank you. Yes. What we're giving them, so everybody knows, they get a blanket, and then Carly was nice enough to put together a little photo album for each of our seniors. Carly Antolik. So thanks, Carly, for doing that.
Our next graduating senior is going to be Olivia Dodge. I think I'm going on 6 years of having the privilege to get to coach Miss Olivia. Through that time, we've always had a nice connection, and that connection is she loves breaststroke, and I love breaststroke. When we would do kick sets, Olivia would crush doing breaststroke kick, and I remember back when I was a swimmer, the only thing that moved me forward might have been a breaststroke kick. During her time, you've seen a great evolution in terms of her swimming. Olivia started out primarily as a breaststroker. Not sure where she was in the sport. She came over to another club when she came to the Bay Rays, and we spent 3 great years there. When we moved on to the Starfish, Olivia Dodge joined us, and all of a sudden you saw her start to move out of her comfort zone. You started to move out of her bubble and move on from breaststroking to becoming a phenomenal IMer. Throughout those times, you'd see her qualify for Y championships, Y states. We moved on to USA swimming, at which point she was always a top end breaststroker, golds qualifier. I think we've even made a few trips out for some speedos to swim some breaststroke in our relays. And then she went on to swim at Bethlehem High School, where she made a tremendous impact. I don't think that there's always a ton of words shared between the two of us. But my favorite part about Olivia is she's always been very coachable. If I asked her to work on something, she'd work on it. I could turn away from a group, and you'd see Olivia leading the lane. And it's kind of been nice to have an athlete who will work, and not the entire coach-swimmer relationship be about the conversations that are coming before and after. Olivia's going to be going on to Roger Williams next year, where she will be one of the fastest girls on that team, hands down. And she's going to get a chance to pursue a degree in marine biology, which it's an awesome degree. I know it was something that I always found quite interesting, and I'm excited that you're going to get a chance to take that path. So Olivia, for all your hard work and your great years swimming, thank you for everything. Our next graduating senior is going to be Ben LaFountain. So Ben, the funny thing that I think when I want to talk about you as a swimmer is I look around this pool and I think about how many swimmers that I saw swim for the first time, and they all paddled and drowned through the pool, and it feels like just yesterday, it was probably 10 or 12 years ago when I met you, we had that same relationship and that same experience. It just happened to be 4 years ago. And you came in with your 5 brothers, and you guys all got in, and I'm looking at these big, strong boys, and I'm like, oh, look at that, they are going to crush it. And I remember Coach Amanda Podzarinsky doing your evaluation over the other side of the pool, looking like she was holding on tight, like, am I going to have to get him? Am I going to have to get him? And I thought that was amazing. I looked at a 14, 15-year-old boy coming into what we all know to be quite a difficult sport for the first time, and he did his tryout. And he came into the Starfish for his first 2 years, and he swam over in Senior 1, sometimes even with age group 3 a little bit, and really focusing on the technique and the basics. And he had no problem taking it slow and learning it the right way. If anybody's ever swam with Ben, they know his work ethic. They know that he won't stop, that he'll push through anything, even when Audrey has to pull you out of the pool because you're not breathing, okay? And you saw his career grow with his effort. Ben came in, like we said, paddling, not quite swimming, and I believe we took him out to Speedos his junior year. You know, he'd come out and he'd set some big goals, and he's always worked towards them. Ben has got that special kind of crazy you want to see as a swimmer, because his favorite event is the 200 fly. And there would be times in the season when he first got into the stroke, he would try to swim an entire practice butterfly to the point he'd have to be told no and stop. From the looks of it, it looks like Ben will be training with us next year as he goes on to swim, to start his school at Hudson Valley. So he'll continue training and pursuing some of those large goals you have. So Ben, thank you for all your hard work, and congratulations, dude. All right, I think I have one more for now. Miss Audrey Nadeau.
Hey.
Of the group today, Audrey's right up there with the athlete that I've been coaching the longest. From the first time I met Audrey, she had a bright smile and she said hi to everyone. That never stopped. And 10 years later, life experiences, some great, some not as great. Audrey's always kept the smiling and happy personality. She's welcoming to everybody around her, and she is an amazing teammate. I remember we started, Audrey, I think you were 8 years old, 7 years old, somewhere in that range, 8 years old. And you were a little taller than everybody else, and you were a little stronger than everybody else, and it was amazing. You were a great leader from the beginning. As you've gotten older, those skills have only shined more. Okay, your ability to lead, your ability to connect people, and your ability to work, is unmatched. Audrey's going to continue her swimming career next year at Union College, which is amazing. She's going to have a chance to study at one of the best engineering schools in the area and be able to swim for a great program. And best of all, she's going to be local. So it won't be too far of a goodbye. Hopefully she can come in and see us. In her career, she's qualified for her Y champs, Y states. She's qualified for gold. She's been out to Speedos with us. And in the high school level, she went on to be a captain at Bethlehem, and going out and traveling with them for states and helping that team succeed. Wherever you wind up, Audrey, whatever you do in life, we know you're going to be successful. We want to thank you for everything you've done.
Grace Thomas. Grace came to the Starfish in 2016, right? I think so. I looked it up. And Grace and I go back even a few years before that to the old Southern Saratoga YMCA days. When Grace came to the Starfish, she was an 8th grader who had just had shoulder surgery, which is not generally the recipe for long-term success to have had shoulder surgery as a swimmer by that age. But Grace, since she got here, has been consistent in everything that she does, and she has worked every day, and she is a testament to what consistency and grinding will do in the sport. every year she got a little bit faster. I looked at her times. She went from a 109 the first year she was here in the 100 backstroke to a 104. The next year she went to a 100, to a 59, to a 58. And unfortunately we didn't get to put down some times at the end of the season this year, but I have no reason to believe that trajectory would not have continued. Again, it's just really a testament to what you can do in this sport if you are willing to put in the work and just grind at it. Grace is a it wasn't always easy to be in Grace's shoes. We had a small group of seniors at our site, and she is one of the rare Shen kids that we have on the team. I know that it wasn't always easy, but I'm glad that Grace put her trust in me and in us to get her to where she wanted to be as a swimmer. And I hope that she thinks it was rewarded. She was a great mentor for some of our younger kids, as one of the only upperclassmen that we've had the last couple of years, and she has made us better as a team. And she's headed to Lemoyne in the fall, hopefully. We're all headed, and where she will continue to thrive as a backstroker and distance backstroker, and maybe even a little bit more. It has been a pleasure having Grace with us the last few years, and we are going to miss Grace.
We have two more seniors. This next senior is fairly newer to the Starfish. Right, we've got Brayton Barnhart. So I'd like to tell you all the years that Brayton and I have worked together and all the great and amazing stories I have. Unfortunately, that's not the case. It is important to recognize Brayton as it is to recognize all of our seniors. Okay, the senior class of 2020 is going to come out with perseverance and grit. They have already had to persevere and deal with more real life adversity and difficulties than any high schooler or young adult should have to deal with. So it's only fair to recognize her for her years and years of hard work. Brayton's swim career, I believe, started with the Mahonison Marlins. Okay, she went on to go swim for the Duanesburg Eels. And one of her greatest stories, one of her fondest memories in the sport of swimming, will be her sophomore year. Just like most swimmers, right? The career of a swimmer tends to be a roller coaster, right? We have some highs, we have some dips, right? And our goal is to just keep getting back up and reaching for the sky. And so Brayton's really thrived, and her sophomore year, her fondest memories are going to be when she made B finals, coming in with less than expectations. She made B finals in the 2 free at sectionals, and she followed that up with an A final qualifier in the 100 breaststroke. Brayton's also got an interesting story in where she stepped away from the sport for a little bit. Her senior year, she wasn't quite sure if she wanted to continue swimming, so she had taken a step back. As she had taken that time away, it gave her a chance to process what swimming truly meant to her. And as we got through quarantine and as we got through back in the pool, they reached out and asked if she can come in and swim, as Brayton is looking to continue her swimming into college, where she's going to go next year to Albany and hopefully lead that club team. Depending on what happens with that club team, you have a team here. Congratulations for all of your work, and thank you for the hard work you've given us the last 5 weeks. And this last senior we're going to recognize today is Joey Chiarella. Talk about Audrey being the longest senior that I've coached in today's ceremony. Joey's right there with her. We all started together back in 2011 when there was 12 of us to 30 of us starting this little Y team. And Joey came into me, and I think the second day of practice, he's like, I play baseball. And I saw him swim a little bit, and I looked at him like, yep, it looks like you play baseball. But the crazy thing about Joey is we've had about 10 years on and off together. one thing has always stayed the same. He'll always give you 100%. He'll always give you 100%. You can see it in practice. All right, you can see it in his efforts in dry land, and you can see how he carries his other teammates. He's an amazing leader. I'd like to tell you one time that I was really astonished by Joey, but honestly, it's every time. It's every time this boy is faced with a challenge, he steps up and he thrives. All right, whether it's on the Bay Race, whether it's here with the Starfish, okay, whether it's at his high school seasons. I remember Joey came in 2 Y states one year, kind of a no-name, 12 years old. I think he was like the 23 seed in the 2IM, so we know what happens when they circle seed and they put you on the way outside. And he came in, I think he was a 229 in the 2IM, and he swam his fly, he swam his back, and he swam his breast. He went into the freestyle leg a half a pool behind the number 1 seed. Joey chased him down and touched him out. He made up a 15-yard gap. That was the day I knew he was going to be successful. That's carried on as he's gotten older. We went into a 200 fly a couple years later. I believe he was seeded at 207 and in prelims went a 159. He likes challenges and he'll face them head on. Next year he's going to be joining another one of our alumni, Belen, over at the University of Binghamton, where whichever event he decides to focus on, wherever he puts his efforts, he will thrive. Joey, thank you for 10 great years, and I wish you all the success. All right. Hey, thank you guys for all coming out. Swim practice and our 3rd senior ceremony of 2020. Today we recognize the last 2 graduating seniors of this year. Okay. These 2 girls had the privilege of coaching for 9.5 years apiece. I remember back to their first day. I'm going to start out with Miss Kaylee Pagnata. I remember Kaylee Pagnata when she first started as a young 8-year-old. She hadn't quite turned 9 yet. She tried out, she always had a smile on her face. Most beautiful, elegant strokes you've ever seen. And then what I noticed was that was a trend. The next 4 years was always beautiful and elegant strokes. Wouldn't get overly aggressive early on, but that was okay. Kaylee always had a very positive outlook. One of the things I started to realize about Kaylee is she was extremely tough. Early on in her swimming career, she had always faced adversity and always kept coming back. There were meets she wanted to qualify for that she didn't hit. She came back the next year working harder and she made it. She carried that into her high school swimming, where I believe we had a couple of top 5 finishes in sectionals. I remember when you qualified for golds for the first time, and what further kind of cemented how tough you were was this past year. Your varsity season had been done. You found out you tore your labrum, and you came in and you tried to work through it every day, to the point of tears, and no matter how many times coach told you, don't get to that point, you shouldn't be working yourself into tears, you kept doing the work, you didn't want to sit out and quit. And I will appreciate and I will miss the 9.5 years we had, but I'll always be able to look back and think that you had a great swimming career and that we did all we could together. So Kaylee, congratulations. It's fitting that we get to do these 2 senior ceremonies together because when these 2 young ladies first started swimming for me, they were in a pack of 3 that went everywhere together. It was Emily, Kaylee, and Annika. And no matter where they went, they showed up to practice all the same days. If you needed to find them during a meet, they were always sitting together. And they tried to swim together as often as possible. They're like the 3 musketeers. Our next senior is Emily Sulik. I remember when I first met Emily, I watched her swim and I said, wow. And a day or 2 later, I was like, I don't know if she's going to join our team. I hadn't heard back, I hadn't gotten an email, and I was like,
where's that young girl? She could swim. The rest of them were kind of drowning and floating. But lo and behold, the first day of practice, Emily was there. One of the things that I can tell you, and I think anybody that swam with Emily can tell you, is she worked at 100 to 150% every single day. Whether she got what she had worked for or just missed it, she came back working even harder. I remember that Emily, you know, it was a good practice when Emily wouldn't take her goggles off. All right, Emily would swim in practice to the point of tears. Not so much for point of injury, but her heart rate was probably sitting at about 200 for an hour and a half straight. And you knew because she wouldn't take her goggles off. Those goggles were like a little fishbowl inside there. Tears were filling up, but the work ethic never stopped. Emily's another one that shows a lot of toughness. We came from the Bay Rays team, and there was about 55 girls her age, and she was always the 5th fastest of them. So she was always fast enough to go to all the big meets and always one off of being on a relay. And I think that helped drive her to work harder and harder. That same sort of toughness continued when she went into high school. And she went on, and I remember she won her first sectional event, and I think that, you know, anybody that's been to that meet to win an event is amazing. But Emily had the unfortunate of missing the state cut by less than a 10th. She came back her senior year to do the same thing, finish in the top 3 at sectionals again, yet missed that state cut again by a 10th. And I know that I've seen a lot of swimmers over the years, when you work that hard for something and you miss it, unfortunately you tend to see them walk away or stop giving you that same 100%. Emily was at practice the next day. Emily refocused and she set her goals. And I can tell you, I can't think of a day that Emily didn't give me 100%. So Emily, I will cherish those 9.5 years, and I thank you for everything. A round of applause for our final 2 graduating seniors.
What he looks like an absolute
Smile.
I present you to